Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of Beyond Stuff's Movie Reviews. My name is Bryan, and I'm joined here by Luis Vazquez. How you doing, Luis?
I'm doing great, surviving the quarantine one step at a time. Netflix has kept me sane for the last 2 months now.
No, I've been keeping busy, just playing a lot of Nintendo Switch. But we're here to talk about a movie that released, I think, yesterday, which is Capone, directed by Josh Trank. We're gonna review it here today. Uh, I haven't heard your take on this movie. So, what do you think about this movie?
Well, this movie, surprisingly, I think is one of the worst gangster films I've ever seen. I'm not saying that I completely hated it, but there were some things that I despised, like the writing and the director. The director, I have mixed views because I love Chronicle. Chronicle is one of my favorite. How do you say this, camera point of view type of movies. I enjoyed it, but then he directed the Fantastic Four, and I'm like, no, no, no. So I kind of had low expectations with this movie, but I'm gonna tell you something. I really love the acting, especially Tom Hardy's performance as Al Capone. He completely nailed it out of the park. I hope someday he gets his Oscar, but so sadly it's not gonna be in this movie because it had many plot holes. And the problem with the movie, at least for me, is that like 1 minute you think you're watching like a drama movie, that 5 minutes later you're like watching a comedy movie, then like 10 minutes later it's like you're watching a horror movie, and I'm like, make up your mind already.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't see any of the trailers. The only thing that I saw regarding of the promotion of this movie was way back when they were filming this thing, and Tom Hardy released his image of how he's gonna look as Capone, and yeah. I don't think this was the right move for Josh Trank to come back from after the disastrous Fantastic Four. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of this mob stories, with these notorious characters like Al Capone and whatnot. So I wasn't expecting anything on this movie because I didn't see any trailers. I had no interest in watching this movie. So I did not completely hate it, but like you said, I do not know where. I don't think Josh Trank knew where he was going with this movie. It has some comedic moment. Then it goes leaning into the horror. I think the first scene that we see Capone walking through the hallway, then chasing the kids. I think that I saw a little bit of horror in that sequence, and I thought that was going to be like the whole feeling of the movie. One of the things that I'm a bit disappointed about is the fact that we didn't get enough of Linda Cardinelli, because I think this movie would have worked better if we saw it in the eyes of her, experiencing life with the condition that Al Capone was living throughout that time of his life. Because as we know, and we know through history, he had that disease and he was released from jail because of it. So I would have loved to see more this story, but in the eyes of Lida Cardinelli's character, which is of course the wife of Al Capone. Now, you go to this movie just to see Tom Hardy's performance as Al Capone, and though on my way home, I was listening to an audio from the real Al Capone. Uh, Maybe that audio was like years before this whole thing happened to him, but he sounded a bit cartoony to me. But that doesn't take away from the performance that Tom Hardy gives. I think that is the redeeming quality of this movie. I didn't completely hate it, but I was just, even though I did not completely enjoy this movie, I was I was there to see Tom Hardy give it his all. That's the one thing to watch on this movie.
Yeah, I personally didn't mind because, when you get syphilis, it was the last year of his life, people are going, and I know that people, other critics have commented that he looks like a zombie from The Walking Dead because
Yeah.
his nose,
No,
his,
he looks and he sounds like one in a lot of those movies. He reminded me, yeah, of a Walker.
yeah, but at least for me, I didn't mind because, his performance still grasped me. I could understand what he was saying. What it bothered me was the subplots, and I'm glad that you didn't watch the trailer because if you watch the trailer, you're gonna think that the movie is about these people trying to figure out where did Al Capone left 10 million bucks. In reality, it's not that. It's there, but it's fairly touched upon, which
Hmm.
really, really I know me. For example, Matt Dillon, he's one of the actors in the movie.
Yeah.
He plays Johnny. I loved his performance, but I hated what they did with his character because what they do, like towards like even in the middle movie, you're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. And then you get these other characters with their backgrounds, and they're trying to get the money, and that part is left completely unresolved. It's like boom, it completely disappears out of thin air, and you have no idea what's real and what is not. And the editing,
Oh,
sorry about
see,
that. Yeah, that was the
that's
alarm.
Wanda. That was
See, see,
Wanda. That was
tope de
Wanda.
caída.
Yeah. One of the things that bothered me a little bit. I was okay with it after like the next few times that happened in the movie was the jumps between reality and the mind of Al Capone. And I like the whole sequence where he's living through the Valentine's Day
Massacre, yeah.
massacre. Yeah, and I love the way it looked. But one of the things that bothered me a little bit with The Witcher, which is one of the things that most people didn't like about The Witcher, was when it comes about time jumps and all that. I when it comes to those things, I really like to see like a visual cue that tells you, okay, we're not in the current timeline, or we're not in reality. And I have to say I got lost a little bit, but then after the other few times, I got used to it. And yeah, I think the editing of this movie could have worked so much better if it wasn't all Josh Trank. But yeah, regardless, I didn't have any interest of this movie, but the performance of Tom Hardy uh, kept me into watching this movie. And yeah, it was interesting because I think most people, when they hear Al Capone or Capone, without even watching trailers or anything, they expect this action-packed movie retelling his crimes. And I think not many people think about the last year of his life that was a bit tragic. He was a scumbag through and through. He was a
Yeah.
crime lord. So I didn't feel any sympathy for the man. But if I think I would have felt more sympathy if I saw it through the character of Linda Cantonelli's character, through her perspective.
Yeah.
But overall, I think I did. I didn't hate it. Unlike other movies, I did not hate this movie.
I disliked it, but I did not hate it, and I
At, at,
totally.
at least it's watchable.
Yeah, at least it's watchable. But now that you're telling, it should have been done in Linda's character's point of view, it reminds me of a movie that Josh Trank could have learned, and it's the German movie Downfall, which is about the last 10 days of Adolf Hitler, but in the point of view of Hitler's secretary, South John. So, yeah, I definitely agree on that point. And again, all of the performance, Tom Hardy, Linda Cardellini, Jack Lowden, Matt Dillon, they all do a great performance, which surprising me coming from a bad script. It's that, terrible directing, bad writing, poor editing scripts, doing the movie for me. Yeah, great performances and memorable cinematography, but the rest I cannot, enjoy it that much. Also,
and I was willing. I was willing to give it a chance because before you were telling me to before you suggested me to review this movie, I was watching his interview with Christian Harloff, and I see that he is passionate about the story, and after the disastrous Fantastic Four, I was really rooting for Josh Trank with this movie, but I didn't hate it, so that's one thing going for him. So I cannot wait to see what Josh Trank does next after this. Hopefully something better than this, but it's
hopefully.
fine. So before we go, what rating do you give this movie?
Okay. I was still going with the five Cocoa Puff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would give it 2 out of 5 Cocoa Puff.
I was thinking of giving it that, but since I did not really hate it, I cannot say I dislike the movie. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with that movie, but I cannot say I dislike it because unlike other movies that I dislike, I immediately get turned off with this movie. I was interested to see where this movie went. So I'm gonna give it. Maybe I'm being too kind. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 Funko Pops. Maybe I'll regret it later. Maybe after a second rewatch. But I'm gonna be kind with Josh Trank. At least he tried. After Fantastic. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this. Did you guys see it? It's available right now on video on demand, which is our new reality in this quarantine.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we see theaters opening between July, August. Maybe that's wishful thinking because I really do miss the movies.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for watching it. If you watched it through video on demand, let us know if you liked it. Do you agree with our review of this movie? Let us know in the comment sections down below, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. See ya.
Yeah.